Good evening, everyone. It's another Thursday. It's time for another Who Are We? It used to be called Who is SoCal, but we've expanded, so we changed it to Who Are We? And tonight we have our realtors. We have 5 of our realtors from SoCal. And before anything, I just wanted to say thank you to all of our viewers out there and those who will be coming in a few minutes. We are on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Kumu. So hello to everyone who's watching from the Philippines. And we are also on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. And before anything, again, I just wanted to remind everybody that we do have a show coming up. So on July 31st, we have Garth Garcia is going to have a concert and a CD release party. He'll be coming up with a new CD with 5 songs in it. It's actually an EP. So we'll have a party with food and it's going to be in a theater space. So that's very exciting. So watch out for that July 31st. And if you're interested in buying a ticket, message me or go to our Eventbrite and it is searchable. And so let's bring in our guests. So our first guest is Jason AGCAOILI. He is also the president of the Filipino-American Chamber of Commerce in Hollywood, and he is a realtor with Homestart Realty Group. And he is an agent that specializes in real estate investments and income properties representing homeowners and investors. And he covers the LA metropolitan area. However, he is specializing in South Bay Beach communities and in Long Beach. So let's all welcome Jason. Hi, Jason. How are you doing?
How are you doing?
Hi, good. Good to see you again.
Yeah, of course. Good seeing
Virtually
you.
this time.
Virtually, yeah. Happy Thursday.
Yeah, happy Thursday. Are you ready for the weekend?
Of course. Not that there's really a weekend for realtors, but yeah.
Are you going to be showing houses this weekend?
No, hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
I'll probably go take a look at a couple properties that off market. So, but primarily I'm trying to spend more personal time on the weekends. So
that is so awesome. Yes, we all do need our me time, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, and so. Speaking of me time, we're going to be asking our next guest, who is actually a mortgage lender. His name is RAUL CAMALIGAN, and he is a New Jersey native who transplanted himself to Southern California back in 1993. And he is actually a graduate of Rutgers University. Wow, that is so awesome. And he entered the mortgage business in 1997, and he has helped hundreds of families fund their purchase, refinance, renovations, constructions, home equities, commercial loans, and you name it. And he is passionate about closing deals and closing loans. And he is the only direct lender in America whose wholesale rates, on average, increasing purchasing power of like 50,000 to 100K versus other retailers. So let's all hear from him. Please welcome RAUL CAMALIGAN. So hashtag RAUL, everybody.
Hey guys, how are you?
Hi, how are you doing?
Good evening. Jason, I'm in Long Beach myself. I'm in Wrigley Heights right now as we speak.
Oh, I'm at the airport as we speak. I'm at our office right at the airport, so we can go hang out at the hangar.
Oh, okay.
That is so awesome. I know there's a lot of new things happening in Long Beach. There's a new food hall there, right?
Oh, there's a lot of development going on in Long Beach. I mean, around the airport, a lot of the aerospace is here now. Virgin Galactic is here, just to name one of the large ones. But around that, there's a lot of development. So a lot of restaurants. Whole Foods moved in. Mm-hmm. So when Whole Foods moves into your neighborhood, that's when it's time to buy in that neighborhood.
Yeah. So RAUL, what are your favorite places in Long Beach? So if you were to take me around Long Beach, where would you take me?
Oh, let's go by the Pike. Down by the water.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's You got Parker's Lighthouse. You have all those places over there.
Yeah,
If you want Hooters, you want eat chicken and wings. Boom,
the
it's
aquarium
right
in the
over
Pacific.
there.
A
Yes.
lot of stuff.
Gladstones,
I've
Oh
only
Gladstones.
yeah,
been to the Queen Mary, to the
oh
aquarium, and I've
sure.
been to Snapback in downtown Long Beach. Yeah.
Oh wow, okay.
You know what that is?
Yeah,
Snapback?
icy ice.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been there. That is
Nice.
so awesome. And speaking of music, so we're talking about clubs, right? Our next
Yeah.
guest is someone who is truly, truly the epitome of someone who really enjoys dance music and EDM, for a matter of fact. Her name is Jennifer Santulan, and she's a realtor with Keller Williams Realty. And she works out of their Encino and Sherman Oaks office as a realtor for myhousesellers.com. And like I said earlier, she is really into music and EDM. And she is also a raver and the co-founder of My.BPM, who is spreading PLUR. And so we'll ask her what PLUR means. And she's
Yeah.
making home ownership a dream come true. So let's all welcome Jennifer Santulan.
Nice.
Hi,
Hello,
Jennifer.
Hi
hello.
Jennifer, welcome. Welcome to the
What's
party.
up, you guys? How's everyone
Welcome
doing
to
tonight?
welcome to the real estate party, the most fun party we've ever been to.
I am glad to be here.
So, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. It was a crazy day. I know you guys had said you guys were in your offices. I wanted to film out of my office, but I had to deliver keys and that went a little longer than usual. So I had to run home, but I am doing well. Everything is great.
And can you tell us a little bit about what spreading plur means?
Oh, okay. So I say that I'm a raver. I am a co-founder of My.BPM. It is a clothing brand that spreads PLUR. So PLUR stands for peace, love, unity, respect. It's a lifestyle. It is a belief. It's basically a raver's motto. It's definitely a lifestyle that we live by, and I stand by it. And not just at music festivals, but in everyday life. Like I believe that if everybody spread it a little bit more PLUR here and there, the world will be a much better place.
I like it.
That is so cool. Yes, and we'll talk about all of your interests in a little bit. And speaking of spreading peace, love, unity, and respect, our next guest is actually one person who tries to spread peace, love, unity, and respect through his SoCal Pinoys group on Facebook. So he is no other than Charles Lawrence Chamorro, and he is also a realtor with Keller Williams Realty, and he has extensive experience in real estate since 2001, including roles in acquisitions, direct sales. He was also a group leader and, of course, a realtor, and he consistently provides a stellar experience with a strict focus on superior quality and devoted service to buyers. And he can be found, his information can be found on the website www.getahomequick.com. Oh my goodness. So let's all welcome Mr. Charles Lawrence Chamorro. Hi,
Hello.
Charles.
Hey, everybody.
Charles.
I'm so glad to be with these wonderful agents like these top producers, Jennifer and Mr. Jason, a very
How's it
nice
going?
guy. I met you, I think, did I meet you in Cerritos the other day?
No, in
Jason?
downtown in Little Tokyo for the
Oh, yeah, I met you there.
yeah.
Yeah, we took a picture.
Was that
And
during
also
my
this very
birthday?
successful guy, Raul Camaligan, is very successful. I'll tell you how successful he is. Every time he closes a deal, he takes off one strand of his hair. So now you can
Really?
see
Oh
how
my
successful he is. So
God.
that's the level of success he has.
Oh, wow.
Don't we all wish we were Raul now?
Yeah, and Jennifer of our Encino office, I heard a lot of good things about her. She's wonderful. Did the
Yes.
REOs before and stuff like that. I sometimes sit there at the Encino office when I'm
Oh,
in
you
the
should come say
valley.
hi.
Yeah, I should say hi to you, but they sit me behind, in one of those desks when I need to work on my Sherman Oaks listings.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, but we'll probably collaborate for one of these
Yeah,
days.
definitely.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Yes.
Cool.
And speaking of collaborations, um, we have our next guest who has collaborated with Jennifer Santulan in her weekly shows at a weekly show called Generational Wealth, right? And so Espie Agbayani is a real estate broker
Mhm.
who lives and tries to retire in style. And so that's something that we're going to talk about a little bit later on. How do you retire in style, right? And she has been making real estate the best investment since 1988. And she has worked full time in real estate financing, selling, and buying real estate, residential real estate in the Silicon Valley, El Dorado, and now Greater Los Angeles. And she is one person who's lived in so many different places. And in 2010, yeah, she started promoting Retire in Style, leveraging on real estate ownership in the US and also in the Philippines. So that's all welcome, SP. So everybody, hashtag SP if you're out there, ESPIE. Let's all welcome SP. Hi, SP.
Hi,
Hello.
Espie.
Hi, Tita.
Hi.
Hi, how are
Kamusta?
you
How's
doing?
everybody?
Good. Good to see
You're
you here.
finally on our show. So SP and I have been trying to get to each other so that she can come to our show for months. And it's like it must be like 6 months already. So
Right. Yeah.
finally we have SP on our show.
Yeah.
Hi,
Thank you
so
for
how are you
inviting me.
doing?
Very good. Can you hear me? I'm
Yes.
I'm really
Perfect.
excited to be here and see all these high producing guys, Jason, Jen, and
Espie.
Charles, and of course the new
Raul.
guy Raul, who is a lender. First time I met you, first time I saw you here in Facebook together with our group, and
Okay.
I hope that I can work with you someday soon. I just
Yes.
transplanted here 2 years ago, so I'm really looking for local networks.
There
Ay,
you
Tita
go.
SP, Raul could do the impossible. I could tell you
Yes.
There
that.
you go.
And
He
and
That's
closed.
we
what I
all
need.
we all strive to have that kind of hairstyle like Raul does.
Yeah, exactly.
Or the lack of hairstyle. Right?
It's easier.
It's
Yes.
easier. Good
Yeah,
point.
Right.
there you go. So this is our group panel, everyone. So hashtag Realtors. We have like the best of the best realtors that we have in SoCal. And so we're gonna go through we're gonna find out all about them tonight, right? And so I guess we'll start with SP. Yeah, so I mean, we do have an icebreaker question because like Filipinos always like food, right? I mean, we can never not talk about food wherever we are, and whether it's like a virtual panel or wherever we are, we always love talking about food. So, what's your favorite food, SP?
Well, my favorite food is paella.
Oh wow,
Wow.
I
Ooh.
like making paella.
wow, and you
Right
definitely
So
over.
the Filipino version of that is our arroz valenciana.
yes,
Yeah, but a lot of you guys don't know I'm a food technologist. I studied food
No.
science.
Wow.
Yeah,
but what does
yeah.
that mean?
Food scientists create food. That's the reason why we became overboard that we can make eggs into something, from something else, and it looks like egg.
Like yeah, like
And
Oh,
even meat.
right.
making
Right now, everybody likes to do plant-based.
Yeah.
So all this plant-based food that looks like meat, they're not really meat. So that's food technology. Food technology.
That is so awesome. Yeah. And so, going to Jason, what's your
Yeah.
favorite food?
Well, of course, adobo. They got I got to represent the
Yeah,
Filipino, but adobo, and I like it.
adobo
I
for
like
the win.
yeah, I like it mixed. Pork and chicken adobo.
He
Mm.
likes the
So,
CPA, the
what's that?
CPA, right? The chicken and pork adobo.
Oh, what's that?
CPA.
And what about Raul?
Well, just like Espy says, well, I'm the last 4.5 years, I've been 80, 90% plant-based because I used to get gout all the time, from the lechon,
Wow.
the mongo beans, all the rich Filipino food. So, and it's hereditary too. My lolo and my dad had it too. So I kind of, had to go 80-20, but I'll still eat my lechon and, at the parties and whatnot. So, but pretty much had to go plant based for health
Yeah.
reasons.
Can't live without lechon, right, Jen?
Oh man.
How about you, Jen? What's your favorite food?
My favorite Filipino dish has to be Bicol Express. I love
Oh,
spicy. I love the
Wow.
milk base, the coconut milk base.
Yeah.
So yeah, Bicol Express is definitely my
Tastes
favorite.
good. Mhm.
that is so awesome. Yeah, do you like spicy?
I love spicy. It's funny. I didn't grow up liking spicy. My mom's actually from Bicol, and my dad always he makes fun of her and says that she's a fake Bicolana because she doesn't like spicy. So we didn't. I didn't really grow up eating much spicy, but I've definitely acquired it. So I love everything spicy now.
Mm.
That is so cool. And Charles, what's your favorite food?
Oh, I discovered the crispy sisig at Dancing Crabs, so
Oh
that's
wow.
my favorite. I always go there when I'm really hungry. I'm on keto, so I don't eat carbs, so I just eat it just by itself, and it's really good.
And so where's Dancing Crabs?
It's in
Now we all
Chino.
want to go.
It's in
Okay.
Chino. Yeah.
Ah.
Okay, awesome. And so we all know that most of you are realtors. Raul is a mortgage lender, and so really quickly, can you give us a summary? Like, so maybe one or two of you can answer this question. Can you give us a quick summary of what you do?
Okay, quick summary. In the last 25 years here in Los Angeles, basically I've been in retail. Okay, so but in the last 2.5, I got involved with our company, Arcus Lending, which is a phenomenal company because it's the only hybrid banker broker. So basically, it's like the Amazon of mortgages, Amazon Prime of mortgages, where our CEO just basically gives everybody wholesale rates. So unlike all the retail lenders that are juicing up, the rates in the form of basis points, he basically gives it at wholesale rates. So which is something that I've found like a phenomenal thing. Like, and I mentioned in my bio, what's happening is it's allowing the lowest rates in history to help buyers increase their purchasing power by literally 50 to 100,000, all because of the low wholesale rates. So which is a phenomenal concept, and he's the only one that has that concept, in America, which is awesome for all of us, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. And
Right.
so for any of the realtors, can you give us a quick rundown or summary of what realtors do? Because
Yeah.
it's a lot of things, right?
Well, it's a lot of things, but bottom line for me is, I help people buy and sell their homes, their dream homes, and then investors, same thing. People they're looking to invest in real estate, but basically help people understand real estate as an investment tool or just a place where they can call their home.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so yeah, like that's a really good summary. Like although like we're gonna get into the details later on. Um, and how did you start in your field? So let's start with Espie.
Very interesting. When I started, I was in SDI. So I was staying home. I was working with Philippine News at that time, and I had a surgery because I broke my ACL.
Oh
Whoa.
wow.
So, so because I was so bored, even at night, I was watching these no money down schemes on how to buy house, no money down, right? You used
Yeah,
to have
yeah.
that midnight. And by the seventh month, I decided that I'm going to be a realtor. Well, 7 months from my pregnancy, so I got my real estate license because, as I said, I want to have a flexibility in my time, you know, with my son or with my child, and at the same time, make some money on my own. not being to be a boss on my own. That's how I started.
Nice.
That is awesome. Yes, and it does offer you the flexibility, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Charles, speaking of
I
flexibility,
never miss PTAs and doctor appointments. I never miss them.
Yeah, nice.
that is so awesome. And so Charles, speaking of flexibility, how has being a realtor helped you with your time?
With my time, it ate up every single
Yep.
minute of my free time. I
Yep.
mean, I deal with volume because I got a lot of investors their investment property in the past, and then so when these properties need to be sold or rented out, they just assign them to me. So I have to handle that. So I have about four listings, five listings, and about for sale, and then there's commercial. For commercial, I have about between 5 to 10 commercial leases a month, and for residential leases about the same, 4 to 8. So it's really a lot of volume. I have people who work with me. I have a field assistant. I have an actual assistant and transaction coordinators who help me, and also I have agents within our company that I hire on a case by case basis to take care of some of the overflow of the business I have. But still, I have to do a lot of the things. So yeah, it takes up a lot of time. But like Tita SB said, you could set aside time for, like, for example, my martial arts training. I could leave and then train from 5 to 6, and then go back to work again from 7 to 2 in the morning. So
Oh my god.
so that's
There you
that's the
go.
realtor
Yeah.
life. But the weekends too, I mean, there are some things you can't delegate. Like, for example, there's a buyer and it's their first time to see houses. I couldn't delegate that to a showing agent. They want me to do it, first, and once they get used to it, I could just, tell a showing agent to show it to them, to show them homes in the future. But I still do the negotiations, the offers, and all that stuff. So yeah.
Charles, like icy, like icy,
Like what?
icy, or the client icy.
Mm.
That Jazz is helping now, right? You passed
Oh,
on.
yes,
You
yes,
hired,
yes. I
yeah.
think is he in escrow already?
No, not yet. He's still looking. Yeah,
But he's close, right?
yeah, he's close. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Raul and I are working on somebody right now, and we're getting close to getting him in escrow.
That is so awesome. And early congratulations to everybody. And so, Jennifer, how has real estate helped you in terms of time and managing your own daily life?
So I have to piggyback off of Charles that there basically is no free time. I would probably the last 6 months have been there are times when you feel like you can't breathe, but it's not a bad thing. Like
Mhm.
it's like clockwork, right? So I have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm showing properties to all my clients, and then Monday, Tuesday, maybe into
Offers.
Wednesday, you're
Mhm.
putting in offers. I'm doing all of my negotiations,
Mhm.
and then Wednesday, or let's say Thursday, I'm basically setting up for the next weekend.
Yeah, that's
Um,
basically the routine.
yeah, every week, day in, day out, it's like clockwork. I mean, I've got a routine. It's nice. I too have a team, kind of like what Charles was mentioning. I have a team of 11 agents, so I get to delegate certain things, but I
Mhm.
get to also pick my clients, right? There's certain clients that
Right.
I want
Mhm.
to hold their hand the whole process, and there's other
Mhm.
clients that aren't first time home buyers and they're okay, or they're just looking. It's not as serious. So a lot of my time goes to all my clients. So I don't have kids, and which is nice. So I don't there's no PTA meetings that I need to make or anything. But
Mhm.
the flexibility comes where you can actually decide what your schedule is, right? So I choose to work with these clients. I choose to show these properties on the weekends, and I can still fit in a family party. I can still fit in a baby shower and things like that, which is nice. Yeah.
You can still fit in a rave
A rave,
as
yeah.
Yeah,
well.
A
those are
rave.
still priorities.
Yes.
That's a good
I
type
do
of
have my
days.
music festivals that I still make time for.
That is so fun. I've
Uh-huh.
seen a couple of posters going around, and my gosh, like the lineups are like
Everywhere.
so awesome.
I mean, because the world shut down for the last year and a half, every artist, I mean, not just EDM, but hip hop and R&B, like every artist is coming out and doing tours now. You know, people who haven't performed for years, they're just like, well, we obviously miss the stage, we miss our fans, and now everybody's just yearning to connect and enjoy music.
Yes, that is so true. And enjoying music and watching concerts is definitely my thing. But more about that later on. And let's go back to you, Raul. So what was your biggest influence in doing what you're doing now? Like, did you ever dream you would become a mortgage lender when you were a child?
No, not at all. It's actually what I tell people, what I tell a lot of my colleagues, if they want, is the best. I mean, real estate and lending, I think it's the best kept secret. I mean, that's out there. I mean, I went to school for business management. I went to a parochial school, went to study this, study that, go do nursing. I'm like, no, I won't do that. You know, I was only a Filipino baseball player in the East Coast back in the 90s.
Wow.
So that's how I ended up here in Cali in the first place, because of playing rookie ball out in the Rancho Cucamonga for the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes. So long story short, I was in management, doing copier sales and managing as well. And I happened to pick up the LA Times at that time in '97, and I picked up a part-time position working for some very, very successful guys that never went to college. And here I am, I'm like driving a hoopty Honda Accord, guys driving Lamborghinis, and I'm like, what are you guys doing? And they were doing back in the day in '97, second trustee loans. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, so they're selling 999 to 21.99 rates, and they're making a killing. And I'm like, how do you guys do this? Well, funny you should ask, young man. So they started teaching me, and a year later, get into FHA, government loans, and it's all she wrote. But nonetheless, though, this has created a dream unlike no other, in my opinion. And like I said, it's best kept secret out there. So for anybody that wants to delve into real estate, hey, go get your license. I mean, NMLS license or real estate license. I mean, my goodness, for less than $1,000, way better, way cheaper than college cost of $100K or $80K. I mean, you'll make your multiple six figures only if you work it, right? Only
it takes a lot of work, a lot of time, and
exactly.
It's not easy. I mean, getting the license is the easy part, but working the schedule is something else.
Exactly.
Finding the business, right? Finding the clientele.
Finding the
same
clientele,
thing in real estate and lending. What did they say? The average income for lenders and realtors are what? 55,
58, yeah.
So that's like, but if you're on the top,
you're
going to make a great living only if you work it.
Full time.
Full time.
The SP's right.
No shortcuts.
Yes.
Either do it full time or don't do it.
And so going back to Jason, like we were talking about earlier, was it your dream to become a realtor when you were young?
Oh, no way. No, I was dreaming about, I wanted to be a pilot. I wanted to be a fighter pilot. And,
oh, wow.
Go screaming
didn't you join
through
the
the
Air
skies.
Force?
And then I joined the Air Force because I went, and that was one of my goals. When I joined the Air Force and found out that, hey, you have to have clean 20/20 vision, but also that not only that is you can't have any sort of color blindness. And that I mean, you don't have to be pure colorblind, but you have to see all the colors. And my colorblind is shades of red and green. So they put you through the test, and and I was like, well, there goes that. I mean, I still continued my Air Force career, and then went into government, and then left government and the corporate world, and then got into the real estate as an entrepreneur. It wasn't primarily to be a realtor, but to pursue the entrepreneurship of it. So,
that is awesome. And SP, adding to your story earlier of how you became a realtor. Was there a mentor who helped you with becoming a realtor?
Well, when I got my license, I joined Century 21, and my first mentor was the broker of Century 21 in Cupertino. It's a
Oh,
small
wow.
brokerage, so I really had a one-on-one with him, and that's where I learned all my basics. And then I moved to from one Century 21 to another, and moved from different companies: Remax, Coldwell Banker, Contemporary Realty, things like that. And I learned quite a bit. But the interesting thing is that I only stayed as a realtor on my first years for maybe about 3, 4 months. After that,
Mhm.
I switched to lending
Mm.
because in Silicon Valley, at that time, 1988, the realtors were just like dog eat dog. And I was in Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
So I decided to be in more on the other side, on the financing side where people are a little bit more professional. So I learned the financing. I became a wholesale rep too, for some wholesale lenders, handling some real estate, some mortgage brokers in Northern California. So
Nice.
yeah, yeah. So I did that for 13 years, and then you know how you can do both of them. There was a time that I was doing both of them for about 5, 7 years until
Wow.
2003.
Oh wow.
Sure.
Yeah, 2003, when even the lenders, the
Yeah.
wholesale lenders, were getting to be too creative and telling
Are
you
you okay?
how to be too creative.
All right. Yeah.
If you remember that.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so I decided to switch and went full time real estate, and that was in El Dorado Hills when I was in El Dorado Hills and selling real nice homes in the
Yeah.
master plan neighborhoods. Yeah, in
Oh, that's a nice
Yeah,
area.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
a really nice
Gorgeous.
area.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah. And it was not as stressful because people there are living, most of them are retirees from the Bay Area, or they
Mhm.
are highly professionals that are making really good key people from Intel, big companies that are moved in that area of Sacramento. It's 30 minutes north of Sacramento, actually going towards Lake Tahoe. So a lot of estate homes, beautiful homes. Yeah. And
Mhm.
yeah, I really did enjoy it. And we put together a Filipino group there.
Mm.
By the time I left, we were about 30 of us in that group.
Oh wow, that is so
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Because it's a white county. A lot of
Yeah.
Mhm.
people are, not a lot of Asians there at that time,
Yeah,
early 2000s. Yeah. Yeah.
that is so awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And going back to Charles, did you have any
Yes.
mentors who helped you with your real estate?
Oh, yes, I did have mentors. So I came from the IT industry, and I was a computer teacher. I was, did network administration, and then I was a teacher in Chicago. And then my ex girlfriend worked for a real estate investment company in the San Fernando Valley. And then I wanted to be with her here in California, so I asked her if they have any job openings. So she said there's a job in the acquisitions department for someone who would need to, help analyze the real estate deals for the company. I said, I don't know anything about that. I'm an IT person. And she told me, no, it's a lot of computer work actually. You program spreadsheets and databases, and then, you would calculate the cap rate, the net present value, these things,
Yeah.
internal rate of return for apartment buildings, because the company buys and sells, buys, manages, and then sells apartment buildings, retail
Nice.
strip malls. So when I joined there, the company, the owner, mentored me in how to calculate all those metrics for those commercial real estate properties. So I became really well versed. I would deal with the brokers. I would go on LoopNet and and scour the the listings of any good deals, and I would call them for any off-market deals and get them. And it was a good learning experience. And then I did that for 5 years. So that guy mentored me. I learned a lot from him. He was very strict. It was actually he was like the boss from hell, like the Gordon Ramsay of real estate.
Oh
he
my
would he
gosh.
would he would
Wow.
yell. He would but I was his right hand man. And a lot of people would just go and quit right away, but I didn't quit because I was just calm. And I would learn how to process what he was saying. Beyond I look beyond the yelling and screaming and cursing. So that's why sometimes you notice I'm a little rough too, because that's how I'm trained. But I try to polish that. So I did that for 5 years, and then I got recruited by another company, also an investment company that owns just apartment buildings. They don't own like shopping centers and all that. And I did the same thing. And they also made me director of leasing, so I was able to hire agents and fill up the vacancies of the 30 to 50 buildings at a time of these apartment. I mean, of that company. It
Nice.
was called Monemco.
Mhm.
And then after that, 2010, I decided to go on my own and get my license. So once I got my license, I already knew a lot of people in the industry, investors, and I already have a track record. I already have a reputation. And I have my former tenants, I would just call them and say, if you do you like to own a home instead of renting? And a lot of them, I was able to sell them houses. And the investors too, they were able to list property with me. And other investors too, I got referred to other people. And yeah, my career went pretty well, thank goodness. It's not without its challenges. There are a lot of
Mhm.
times that there were mistakes and it became bad, but I recovered, like everybody else, I guess.
Mhm.
So but now, yeah, my experience, those mistakes are protect my clients today. So I probably made you know s- many mistakes that you could think of, that right now when I do a deal, I pretty much cover all my bases so that the client would just have a smooth deal without any issues in the deal or in the future, like unpermitted stuff and all these other things that could come up later on. We
Mhm.
just take care of that right away.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
disclose it. Yeah. Hmm.
Mhm.
And speaking of challenges, like what Charles mentioned, a lot of times you go through your daily lives with a lot of challenges. So, was there ever a time when you wanted to give up and say, "Okay, that's it. I have to do something else"? So let's since Charles was already speaking, let's start with Charles.
Yes, that would come across your mind when you've been doing this for a while, especially if the volume becomes a lot and you haven't had any sleep or rest or days off. And you would reach that point where I would think of the time when I was offered like a scholarship for nursing. I was like, damn, I should have just taken that and just became an RN at Kaiser like my brother, and just do the 12-hour shift and then sleep for 3 days straight and go to to the go get a massage. But in real estate, it's just because a real estate deal is a continuous process. So if you have 4 deals going on,
Mhm.
you can't just
Stop.
drop them, because if
Yep.
on a third, let's say I promise myself, okay, on a Thursday I'll go to Costa Mesa and relax, get a massage. I'm not going to do any work at all. So I wake up on that Thursday and look at my cell phone, all these problems are coming up, and I can't just drop them. Because I'm going to go to the office and solve this one problem. I'm going to be there up to 11 and then go to Costa Mesa. So I go to the office. By the time it's 1 o'clock, another problem comes in, and then the whole
Right.
day is gone. No more. My vacation just got
Yeah.
postponed again.
Mhm.
So yeah, but yeah, that happens actually.
Mhm.
And yeah, I don't know about the others, but it
Yeah,
happens.
and
That's
Jen, you look like you're ready to add something.
I do, yeah, because well, I mean, I don't know if you guys all dealt with this because I started right out of college, right? I did real estate right out of college. My parents told me, hey, you go to college, you get a good job. No one ever forced me into nursing. I never wanted to go into medical. So I also got a business degree, like you, Raul. But I actually graduated in 2008 when the economy crashed. So no one was hiring.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to go corporate. No, it didn't work out that way. But I landed a job as a real estate assistant. And, she kept saying, hey, get your license, get your license. I was like, no, I don't really want to do this. And then she ended up not having enough work for me. So she let me go. So then I landed another job on the team that I am now, that's not my team, basically. And I want to say when I decided to get licensed and decided to do this full time, my biggest challenge was I was too young. I was too young and I was inexperienced. I was in my early 20s. People who are making the biggest investment of their life don't want to trust a 22-year-old with a purchase of their home, and so I would get like a family friend want to buy with me, and it was great because then I'd have a nice commission check, and then I couldn't find the next deal. I couldn't find the next client. And there were times when, I'd have a high and then it would go low, and those were the moments that I kind of wanted to give up. Right. But back to what Charles was saying is it's an ongoing thing. Our clients kind of dictate our schedules, even though we do set them ourselves. So even when you get something in escrow, you can't just stop and not look for other, you can't stop lead generating. You got to constantly keep the pipeline going, keep filling the pipeline. So, and once you eventually get over that hurdle, it makes it much easier to keep going.
Anyone else wants to add to what Charles and Jen have said in terms of challenges and getting over those challenges and moving forward?
Yeah, I think for everybody, since everybody's an entrepreneur, you wake up with no salary every day. So basically, you are self-employed. So that's a motivating factor in itself, right? And what's always said is if you know your why, the how will take care of itself. Okay, if you're here to help people passionately with conviction, naturally, it's all going to work out. It's just faith, right? And the opposite of faith basically is discouragement, and you don't want to be in that frame of mind, because everything is about the mind. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. If you read all these positive thinking books and analyze how these successful people have been successful, is because of the power of positive thinking.
Yeah.
So that in itself, along with your passion and ability to help people, definitely allows you to keep going, in this business.
Yeah.
Correct.
Well, the worst times that I had was during the downturn that we had, 2009, 2010, actually even earlier than that. Um, I was in El Dorado Hills at that time, and most of the people that moved there, enjoying the big house, some of them, they still have their homes in the Bay Area. And I remember there were times that I would show properties and they're just being taken out, cleaned out by movers or by liquidators, whatever, and you can still see some toys of the kids there. And then now you're showing it, to some people to sell. And it was devastating, what you see in TV, all these people that are being thrown out of the homes, even the older people. I would see what the situation in Oakland. I will have some broker friends of mine that would call me and let me know what's going on in the Bay Area, and I was in El Dorado Hills. So when things like that happens, that was maybe the third downturn that I experienced from the time that I got my license, and that was the worst one, And you have to pivot, you learn something. So at that time I took my certification for short sale, you know and what kept me going on this kind of challenges is that when you feel like people need you, when they come to you and ask you for help, you can't say no. Oh, I'm changing, because there are so many times that I wanted to change. I have some other talents that I could do, but when some people would come to you and say that they need help, They need to short sale their investment property, their real estate, their home, and all that, and they are depending on you.
Yep.
So that's the one that keeps you going. When you feel like you need to help somebody, or you have that sense of responsibility to help them, that's what keeps you going. I think that's the reason
Mm-hmm.
why we in real estate, people who gets really immersed on the business. Yes, we love the money, we love the compensation, but I think those that are really dedicated in real estate would have that heart. That's the reason
Yeah.
why they're staying on, because
Mm-hmm.
it is that main thing that will keep you going. Even
Right.
now, even in
Yeah.
our situation right now, we're going to be praising ourselves, because there's going to be a lot of people who's going to
Yeah.
need help. you know
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
coming. Yeah.
That is
That's
so
true.
true. And um, speaking of that long-term goal of helping people, what do you want to impart to your clients? Let's start with Jason.
Well, I think the misperception outside of realtors or outside of the industry is um, that there's a lot of that realtors make a lot of money. The majority of realtors make a lot of money, um,
Mm.
and so it's such a false misperception. But it's also that people tend to forget. Well, not they tend, but they don't understand that we're independent business owners. We're all entrepreneurs and we run our businesses. Even though whether you're an independent agent or a broker, is that we're running businesses, and 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 that's what people don't understand. So then when you have these clients that don't understand that, all they're looking for initially is, what are your fees? Because they're in their head, they're just going through their spreadsheet,
Yep.
right? And then also in their head, when they're selling a property, is their property is worth more than what it really is. I have no, my house
Everyone
is
has
a
the
mil.
best house on the
Yeah,
lot or on
everyone
the
has the
block.
best
Yep.
house on the lot. Everyone has the $1 million house. They look online, whatever it is, Zillow or whatever app, and then they have this false perception. Hey, it says online that my house is worth a gazillion dollars. And oh, I can sell my own house by myself. So they try to go through what we call a FSBO, for sale by owner. I can do this. I don't need to hire a realtor. Why do I need to pay them fees? You know, um,
Mm-hmm.
and why do I need to pay them X amount of fees? The 5% fee. Why can't I just pay them 1% fee? Um, but what they don't realize is that even though a commission check, that transaction happens within a 30-day period. Once it goes into escrow, as short as 21 days and go as long as 45, 60 days. So they're looking at that as an equation.
Engaged.
Yeah, you're getting paid X amount of commission for this one transaction. What they don't realize and what they totally forget is that, you know, we've been working with this client for the past 1 year, 2 years, 3 years,
Yep.
whatever it took, and it got to the point that they can actually close on their property, whether they're selling or they're buying. And
Yep.
then they're also forgetting all of the knowledge that we have to say, no, your property is worth X amount. Trust me on this. This is what it's worth. But what they're also forgetting is the liability that we take away from them when we come in as an agent. There's a lot of there.
Yeah.
If an owner, property owner, sells their house and they don't understand the legal portion of selling a house and the legalities and the liabilities behind it, if they they skip that portion, even though they're in their head they're thinking, oh, I saved $30,000 in commission, 20,000, 10,000, but they run into the risk of liability of whatever their house is worth. I mean, there's ongoing cases, where the buyers come in and buy houses, and things aren't disclosed and there's issues with it, and they end up owing them 3 times the amount of the old house, just to
Yeah.
save that five
It's a
thousand,
statute
ten
of
thousand.
limitations. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So I mean, I'd like to convey, and I try to convey to all my clients, either they're buying or selling, is this is what I'm going to do for you. This is why it makes sense to hire an agent. I'm like, look, it's, the cost of the fee is very minimal against the risk that you run if you were going to try to do it by yourself. But I'm very upfront with them. And like, you're more than welcome to do this on your own. I mean, everyone can do, you can buy or sell your own house. However, if you're confident with yourself on the liability portion, whether and you're not an attorney, you're not a real estate attorney, then go for it. But this is what I offer is, and this is why, whether it's going to be me or another agent, but this is what realtors do is we help take that liability away, and pass on our knowledge. When it comes to the real estate industry, and real estate is very hyper local, so we know the local area we specialize in very intimately. This is what this house is going to go for, etc. But so that's what I like to convey. I try to convey to all my clients is, it's a really complex transaction, even though it looks simple. It's a 30-day transaction, but really it's a there's a lot of meat that goes behind the scenes.
All you need is one mistake, right, Jason?
All you need is one mistake, but that's not what's shown, right? That's a.
I just want to add to that, Jason, because I mean, you mentioned so much that we do as agents for our clients.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, it's kind of upfront. People know, hey, I want your expertise. I want your negotiation skills. I want you, even if they know that we're taking the liability. The thing that a lot of people don't talk about is we're like therapists too, right? Like it's such an emotion. Honestly, like it's an emotional transaction for a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
And you have to hold their hand. I mean, like I've had divorce sales, where you have a husband and wife divorcing, and you literally have to listen to both sides to make sure that both sides are happy.
Yeah.
And then even whether people are buying, right? You've still got two people who want two different wants, and then one's complaining about whatever the case is, right? Like it's still more than all the things that people know on the surface, right? There's so much that we do for them as well.
Oh yeah, and we, you take it for granted that it's adults that are making the purchases, right? Because it's a high expense, so they're adults. But then the thought process sometimes, it borders on. I mean, I say to myself, like, I'm lucky I have kids. I have two kids because they build up my patience. So then when I talk to my clients, I'm going, okay, this is
nothing.
Exactly. But but you're right, Jen, is that we have to be the therapists because they are relying on us because it's a huge expense. So that again, Mick is if we can convey to potential clients, current clients, whatever, is that there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that we don't show.
Right.
It's like that duck swimming in the pond, right? There's a lot of stuff going on. We're staying up.
Like literally.
Yeah, exactly. I'm calling negotiating behind the scenes. And then when the negotiation sounds okay, then I'll call my client and let them know, hey, look, this is, I think we got a deal. Yeah, but that back and forth and going through multiple agents. So yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So does anyone else want to add to what Jason and Jen have said?
Well, yeah, just knowing the right things to say and the right things to do, and making sure that the investment is going to make money. Because some investments are cheap, but they're cheap for a reason. So, for example, there's a house for $200,000, but it's in an area that's not desirable, and you have to keep evicting people every 6 months. Then it's not really worth it. And there's a lot of factors for that, and also, you have to be the calming presence, like what Jason said. Like I have clients who are panicking, they won't get the house and all that. But if they see me that I'm not worried because I went through that 10 times before, and I'm just calm, and I'm just speaking to them in a very, rational manner. And I'm like, what are you worried about? It's going to be fine. then they calm down. So that's another valuable uh, aspect of having a realtor. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes. And so considering, you go through all of these challenges daily, right?
Yeah.
And it's a stressful thing. You have to manage a lot of things all at the same time. How do you keep yourself sane? What are the self-care? Do you do any kind of self-care?
Yeah, well, I
Oh
A
yeah.
I
lot.
do. I take a
Yeah.
break. Every Tuesday, Thursday, and sometimes Friday, to do like Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, and
Yeah.
it kind of I sweat. I let
There
out
you go, Jen.
my aggression, and
Yeah.
then I have a good meal with a drink, and then I'm ready to go back to work again. Yeah, so that's how I do it, and also play with my kid, talk to him,
Yeah.
watching little funny stuff on YouTube with him and reading, so
Yeah.
that helps too. You know.
Raul, do you have any self-care?
Yes, for me, being an athlete, growing up as an athlete,
Yeah.
it's the gym. It's the gym every morning for me. That keeps me sane and happy, and because your body's your temple, so it doesn't even belong to us. It belongs to God. So you have to take care of it. So first and foremost is it's our body, and who's the most important person in your life? You.
Yeah.
So let's take care of us,
You.
our temple, what we eat, and what we consume. And then also too, it's important like batteries, right? We have to recharge ourselves, guys.
Yeah.
Right? Every quarter,
Oh
hey,
yeah.
book a vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just work on your quarterly recharge of your battery. So for me, that's important.
Mhm.
Definitely taking quarterly vacations and for the weekends. For me now, having being an old dad, I have an 8-month-old and a
Wow.
two and a half year old.
Oh my God.
like Charles says, I mean, I know these videos now. I'm like, man, before I never even paid attention to videos.
Sure.
Now I'm like
Right.
singing along. Oh.
Yeah.
Enjoy every moment of it. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's
So
not going. It's not going back.
right. So that for me, that's the most important thing.
Mhm.
Recharge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Charge. Yeah.
I strongly believe that you cannot pour from an empty cup. So you
Right.
need to take care of yourself first, and definitely, then you can take care of others.
Mhm.
I go to music festivals.
Nice.
That's my way of recharging.
Yeah.
That's at the
Yeah.
top
Every
of the
few months,
list.
I will take a weekend off and 4 or 5 days, and I go to music festivals. So
Wow.
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, I used to salsa, but now I can't. So I just
Zumba.
hang out with friends and have dinners,
Yeah.
I'm gonna
entertain.
take Espie with
Yeah.
me to a music festival.
Yes,
I'm looking
yeah.
forward to that one.
Yes, and
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to SP cooking up some stuff, right? Because she's a
Yeah, I
food
love that.
technologist. Yes,
I
and the
love that.
valley, on to the valley. Here we go, right? Right,
Yeah.
Jen? It's gonna be a trip to the valley.
Let's do it.
Um, and so, what are the qualities or traits that are needed to be a successful entrepreneur?
Oh.
Like all of you.
Oh, I think first and foremost is grit.
Yeah.
Some determination is
Mhm.
Mhm.
But I really, I mean, this is always the debate, right? Is it natural or is something you learn? And I am now, uh, I've been leaning more towards that. You have to have that natural instinct, in your DNA somewhere, that that entrepreneurship bug, whatever it is, because you can't really learn it because
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
people, you go to the schools, you go to the big, the business schools. I have friends that graduate from SC, have an MBA, went through entrepreneurship class, da 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 da, whatever. But then you put them to the test or into some sort of like entrepreneurial business or just anything, right? It can be selling shirts online or something to that effect, and you can easily see the like how they waver,
Mhm.
Yep.
versus someone who is like has that DNA of an entrepreneur, where they'll hack at it until until something happens, whether you have to
That's so
pivot,
true.
or or something, because you have to, like Espie mentioned earlier, is pivoting. Like, you have to pivot daily,
Right.
because when you're because as the way I look at it is, as agents, is that we're fired the moment that a deal closes.
That's
Like,
right.
even though you have deals in the pipeline coming in, that doesn't
That's a
mean,
new
yeah,
experience.
yeah, it's
Never
still a
the
new
same.
experience. I tell all my clients that, they always ask me. I have a deal right now that we're in escrow, and we're due to close on Monday, and he always asks me, "Okay, are we good now? Are we good now?" And I always tell him, I'm like, "Look, like every deal, like I tell you, is that nothing's closed until the check's in the bank." I go, up
Yeah.
until the minute. There's so much stuff that can happen. You
Anything
know,
can happen.
yeah,
Until you get the
I've seen
keys.
things. I've seen recording pulled on day
Yeah.
of
right.
recording. So
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you don't
Mhm.
have that DNA or that grit to
Yeah.
take that on, or have that experience to know that, okay, this is going to smack me right in the face, and am I going to come back after getting smacked? I think you would just die on the vine, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
so to speak. So I think that's the key is, grit, amongst everything else, right? Self motivation,
Yeah.
determination, persistence, all of those. But the main thing is, I think you need to have that bug in you.
Mhm.
That is so true, Jason. One thing I've learned from reading these, Power of Positive Thinking by,
Yeah.
Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. They say from age 9 to 14,
Yeah.
revert back and think of how you were at age
Oh
9 to
yeah.
14,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And relive and rethink, rehash, and then
Yep.
do the same things that you were doing, because now you feel as if, okay, yes,
Yeah.
I am that person.
Right.
For me, I was like, oh yeah, I did. I used to shovel snow
Yeah.
and get paid. I used to deliver paper.
Right.
Mhm.
I used to get paid 10 cents per delivery on the 25-cent, newspaper. And then I decided to do it myself. And then,
Yeah.
so on and so forth. So from age 9 to 14,
Right.
it's a rediscovery of
Yeah.
yourself,
Mhm.
even as an adult. Just
Right.
go back and revert and see what you love to do and do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. I mean, I always
Mhm.
tell people who have jobs, the 9 to 5 job, like getting a job 9 to 5, whatever it is, corporate level, and that's the easiest thing someone can do. Seriously, like, anyone can go to college. Like, it doesn't,
Yeah.
you don't have to, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not, you don't have to be like a high IQ, to go to college. And then ask yourself, what does it really take to get to graduate from college? What do you, seriously, like, okay, I sit in class, whatever, spend the 4 years, get the degree, but then what does that give you? So it gives you an option to
Book
go get a
knowledge.
job. Yeah,
Yeah,
book
that's
somewhat, right, somewhat book knowledge. But it gives you an option to go get a job. Then you go to get a job. You're working 9 to 5. You show up and you really work. What do they say? 6 hours of the day of an 8 hour 8 hour shift. So you're not really, or somewhat working, and then you get a paycheck. So it's that life is very easy, even if you're working like 10 to 12 hour um, job.
right.
Is in comparison to, okay, throw yourself in the entrepreneur bowl of fire.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah.
with a
so
job, as soon as you go home, that's it, right? Like you
right,
leave the office and you're
Yeah.
done. But as an
This
and
one
you're
is
done.
entrepreneur,
doesn't
Not
stop.
in
you
real
live,
estate.
sleep,
Yeah.
breathe, eat,
Mhm.
Yeah,
everything. Your business.
yeah, and
Mhm.
you get a check, right? Your check will still come in,
Yep.
Yeah.
every 2 weeks. It doesn't matter how great you do your job, your check is still going to come in. Like,
Yep.
it's, so, but then, yeah, the entrepreneurship part, like, it's a totally different world,
Yeah,
so,
See, I
exactly.
grew up. I grew up in a family of entrepreneur. My mom
mm,
started a business from the backyard. Both my
nice.
mom and dad were bachelor degrees, double double career. Two degrees each,
Yeah.
and they ended up being entrepreneurs. So I learned from a very young age how to do certain things. I have to be part of that. We all have to be a part of that. All the kids. Well, besides the homework, we have to be part of that. We
Yeah.
started a farm. We were taking care of
Oh,
little
yeah.
chicks and chickens
Right.
and counting eggs and
Yeah.
and dressing chickens. I mean, cleaning up these little chickens until we
Yeah.
became a national distributor. So there were, in between that, there were ups and downs. Every summer was a different story.
Right.
So it's the same. I think it's because of that. With the real estate,
Yeah.
the true meaning of our job is because we change people's lives,
Yeah.
whether it is big apartments that are being for acquisition, or the
Right.
very first home that you're buying.
Yeah.
There's a change of life there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and we are a
Mhm.
part of it, and we're making it happen.
Yeah.
So
So
true.
that's the thing that really pushes us, and that's the wind beneath our wings. I would just say.
Yeah, that
Right.
is so true. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because sometimes you just want to give up, or you just bursting and you said, oh my gosh, but you still, after that burst, you still turn around and make it work,
Yeah.
because that's what you need to do.
Hmm.
Right.
That's what you need to do.
That is so
Yeah.
true. And speaking of home buyers, do you have any advices for first-time home buyers, and what do home buyers need to be mindful of? So let's start with Charles.
Oh, in this market, if you're a home buyer, I want to set the expectations to reality that if you're looking in the more desirable areas, you gotta have a solid pre-approval with a reputable lender like Raul, and also proof of funds that are at least, ideally more than 10%. It's still possible below that, but it's just going to be more difficult. I just want to be upfront about that. So ideally, like 80, $100,000 down would be good in your bank account in order to buy in LA and Orange County, and also the good parts of the Inland Empire like Chino, Rancho Cucamonga, Chino Hills, and places like that. If you're a first-time home buyer, so until the market shifts, that's the reality, right? Raul, are you seeing acceptances of offers in Orange County, LA County, and the western part of Inland Empire that have less than 10% down or 5% down, 3.5%?
Yeah, and that's the issue right now, because it is such a seller's
Seller's market.
market,
Yeah.
and the demand. I mean, there's not enough supply. That's the whole issue here. Lumber's expensive, not enough supply, too many buyers. Yeah, they definitely have to come in with above asking.
Above asking.
10,000,
Yeah. Well.
100,000 over asking in some
Yeah.
cases. It's crazy. I've
Yeah.
never seen this in 25 years.
Mhm.
It's a crazy market, but it's gonna appreciate. I mean, just like right now, if you're renting, you better get in now, because one, rates are still third
Rates are
third
still
lowest,
low.
historic lowest, but the prices are
Mhm.
not going to dwindle. Not like 2008. It's
Yeah.
still the opposite. Back in 2008, it was a market crash because of Wall Street. Right now, it was because of the pandemic. Unemployment is now unemployment is down. So
Mhm.
rates are slightly moving up, but still, the supply and demand issue.
Yeah,
Not
so,
enough supply.
so but it's good to be a buyer right now if you have the money to, like, I
Absolutely.
there's this nurse couple that I know, and I found out they were sitting on $90,000 in cash in their bank account. I was saying, what are you
Oh,
doing renting? You got to buy right now and use that money because the rates are low, and you have an advantage over all the other buyers who are only FHA,
scrimping.
or they have like 3%, 3.5%, 5%. You
Yeah.
could do like 10%, 20%. So when we make an offer, your offer is going to be high up in the stack. So if you're sitting on money and you're not buying and you're still renting, just buy. It's
Mm.
it's better to own, because uh, after 5 years you decide to move, you'll have quite quite a good amount of money. like I'm selling a house right now in Chino. I listed it for 535 just a month ago, and we're closing next week at 630. So 95,000. So with the equity and all that, after the loan payoff and commissions, they're gonna make like a couple 100,000. Um, you know, so if they rented, then what are they gonna have after that time?
Right.
They're lucky to have the half of the security deposit of like $2,000. So it's always good to own.
Yeah, I
If you
think a
could,
lot of,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, because I think a lot of the first time home buyers right now are scared of what you had said, Raul, like,
Hmm.
is the market going to crash? Are these values going to go down? The thing is that
They're
a lot of
looking
people don't,
forward to that, the
well,
deal.
what a lot of people don't realize though is that
Foreclosures.
real estate
Mhm.
always appreciates. People who bought
Mhm.
at the height of the market in '05, '06, if they've kept their house after the
Mhm.
crash and they still have it now, their house is worth more than it
It's
was
worth
at the
more.
height of the
Hmm.
market then, you know?
Hmm.
Real estate always appreciates it. It does this up and down, but it does an up and down exponentially up motion, you know? So now is always a great time to buy. Back to what you said, Charles said, if you have the money, now's the
If you
time.
have
And
the
like a lot
money,
of buyers hear these
but
horror stories. Oh my God, I have to pay 100 grand above asking, 200 grand. But
yeah,
if you wait another year, it'll be 300 grand from what you originally were looking
exactly.
at, you
And
know?
and
So
those two
Let me
nurses
put this in
now, yeah,
perspective, guys.
yeah.
I'm reading my real estate report card, right? So right now, the median home price, LA, Long Beach, Anaheim, 718,405.
yep.
59-year appreciation, average 6.7%.
Uh-huh.
1 year average year over year is 5.17. 5 year is 38.13. So the 5 year gain currently is at 250,653. That's just
It's a lot of
the
money.
average. I mean, from now, from when you close now till in the future, from now until 2 years from now, you're gonna have a great appreciation rate. You
Mhm.
know, so for if you're on the sideline, and yes, Charles is right. You know, if you have 10% down, 20% down, but I also have some clients that are coming in with no money down. You know,
Yeah.
so I do no money down programs to the state, county. You know, so that's available too. So if you
That's
do
still
have
available.
yeah, so if you do have no money down and you have 50,000 in the bank and you're forced to go above asking, at least you have that liquid, you know, right? So the principles of OPM, leveraging other people's money, is the number one
Mhm.
wealth principle in the world, right? OPM, OPT,
That's right,
OPR,
Raul.
money, time, resources is the three number one wealth principles in the world. So, you know, and don't be shy, guys. If you're watching, if you don't have the money, the funds,
Yeah.
get a gift. You know, if
Mhm.
not, then we can do no money down programs down to 580 FICO scores. So if we want to
Right.
dollarize that too, you can do that too as well. And so don't be afraid. You know, jump in.
Mhm.
You know, and you learn how to swim.
The first thing I say to a first time home buyer, first thing that you need to know is if you want it, how bad
Mhm.
you want it, the desire. Do you really want it? Are you clear on what you want? Because once you want it, a lot of things open. If
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
have a good realtor that works with a real good lender, the three of you can ride the horse all together as a team. You can make things happen, and you'll be
Yep.
surprised where money comes.
Yeah,
You know,
It's true.
you'll be surprised where the money comes because it can come. I mean, I had one client from the National Asian American Coalition, right? That NAAC group. I was doing workshops, and this lady just arrived from Philippines. She was a trailing wife. Her husband was a doctor in the Philippines, and then she had been here for 10 years as a manager for the home care. Yeah. And her and two daughters came here. She said, I want to buy a house, but our money is in the Philippines. We talked. I had a lender. We brainstormed. They bought a 750,000 house because they wanted that house. I was showing them a house for
Mhm.
350, you know, and I gave them, a lot of lectures, a lot of information, ideas, suggestions, and doors open. And for
absolutely.
750, they bought that about 5 years ago. Guess how much equity they have now? You know?
A lot. Mhm.
So yeah. So it's important that you have the desire, you have the determination, and you listen. You listen to the people that can give you good information. That's the thing, because there would be some people there who just really a numbers game. It's a numbers game,
Yeah. Right.
But if you find somebody who can teach you, who can nurture you, who can guide you, that's where you want to go, and things happens.
Yeah.
And
So
I see it over and over. It happens.
you know too, what I see a lot too is when people think of putting money down, they think of just like their checking savings. They forget that they have a 401k. Most borrowers, they forget,
Mm-hmm.
like, oh yeah, I do have 401k,
Mm-hmm.
400,000, 300,000. They
Yeah.
and you can borrow against it. So
Mm-hmm.
so guys, think about that too. Whoever's listening,
Yeah.
that yeah, you can, you have your 403b, you have your life insurance cash value that accumulated along these years. So you can use that and leverage it for real estate because it's going to give you a great return on investment.
Sure,
Mm-hmm.
but if I could, I can also chime in there that for all, especially for all first-time home buyers, the biggest, my recommendation to them is, take your time. Like, don't jump into this because you feel like you're FOMO, fear of missing out. That's the worst thing you can do. That for first, and I
The
tell,
process.
yeah, the first, for first time home buyers, the ones who'll give me a call and they say they're looking to buy, the first thing I ask them is, why do you want to buy? You know, because the most important thing about real estate is location, 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 location. You don't want to buy in the neighborhood that you don't want to live in 2 years from
Right.
now, 5 years, 10 years. And then you also have to take in the. I mean, I'm one of those realtors that say, look, if it makes more sense to rent, then rent. You don't have to buy, because I can show you an example, pure case example, that it's going to cost. It'll save you more money renting versus buying. You can rent in Redondo Beach, rent an apartment there at $3,000 a month. Guess how much that's going to cost if you want to buy that same condo size? That's $1 million condo. 20% down, 200,000 right up front, and then all the housing expenses. The one thing buyers have to understand is when you buy real estate as a homeowner, it doesn't make it an asset automatically. I mean,
Yeah.
really, it's a
Takes time.
liability. Unless you understand what those numbers really mean. So for first time home buyers is, find find an agent, do some speed dating with some agents, and figure out the ones that really fit your goal, and
Right.
take your time and find the location that you really want, and then you start going into it. I mean, forget what the rates are doing, really, because it's not like the rates are going to jump from right now. It's what, roll less than 3%, right?
Right.
Yeah.
280,
So
299.
yeah. So a year from now, it's not going to jump to 7%. You know,
No,
you know what I mean. So you have to take all those in account, but you have to have a savvy realtor to put those numbers in front of you and say, look, if you bought this house right now, this is what it's going to cost you out of pocket expense at 3.5% down, 5%, 10%, 15. And if you want PMI off, then it's going to be 20% down. And then what's that PMI? What's that cost, et cetera? And run those figures in front of you. So then that way you're not going into a negotiation where you're having to put overbidding. Right now the market is crazy that there's multiple bids on offers, and the last thing you want to do is overbid on a property, or not overbid, but bid over asking on a property in a location that you don't really like. You're like, oh, okay, somewhat,
Maybe.
yeah,
Just
maybe.
settle.
Yeah, because guess what? That tax bill is going to come in 6 months, and and then the maintenance on a house, like people forget, the maintenance on a house and all of that. If it's not a real estate investment, guess what? That maintenance cost is not, you can't write that off. But if it's an investment, as you're buying as investor, so I think you have to really look at it as, am I buying it as a homeowner? Do I want my kids to go to that school, to go, this is going to be our neighborhood. Now it makes sense for us to buy and pay that extra amount, at a premium, because we're going to live here 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. or is it a place that I just, oh, the market, I want to buy it now because it's going to resell higher in a year from now. But if you're not doing the math correctly, yeah, if you put that 20% down and it appreciates 10%, and then all the closing costs and everything else, then it's like, well, you forget the calculation part. For me, for first time home buyers is, find the right agent for you that fits your goal, and also take your time, find the right location, and it may take you a year. It may take you 2 years. I just one of my friends, she's a client, and we started 2 years ago, and she was able, finally found a place that she liked in the neighborhood, in the area, within her price range, and we were able to get her in at 5% down payment, and we were able to get before it went public to the market, so there's tricks, not tricks, but there's methods that realtors know, but you won't know that if that realtor or that agent understands that, and doesn't fit. So, yeah.
And speaking of all of the tricks, tips and tricks, and other methods that you can do within, your jurisdiction as far as the being a realtor, is there anything that you want to change about the real estate industry?
I think, there has to be some sort of I'm against government regulations, but I think in this area, it should be tightened up. There's a lot of online website apps, and then there's a theory. I think it's gone back, probably 10 years now, where you can buy a home like you're buying something off Amazon, and but and that's the the goal of some of these tech companies, that you can buy or sell, and decrease the commission fees to save you money. And so they're making it, trying to simplify that whole process so that you can buy it like you're ordering something from Amazon and gets delivered, the next day, and you got a house, right? Or you sell your house. But the problem with that is that what they forget is this really, real estate is really a full contact sport, meaning, in person, face to face. There's a lot of emotions. There's a lot of stuff going on that no algorithm is going to calculate.
Right.
There's so there has to be and I see it now because, again, going back to our earlier comment that, every homeowner believes their house is worth the most within their neighborhood, a gazillion dollars, because all they're doing is they're going online and it shows, oh, my house says it's worth $2 million. Someone sold theirs for 1.5, so mine must be worth 2 million. And that algorithm shows that, but there's issues with that because those estimates. I don't think I've found one that's actually correct. So I can easily estimate, 99%, 99.9% they're incorrect, because even the appraisers in this market they're having issues appraising because the market is moving so fast. And you're talking about experienced appraisers, they're looking at actually walking into homes and looking at its square footage. The algorithms don't walk into homes, and they don't see the makeup of the house, but the algorithm is just doing it mathematically. So I think that, there has to be some way, I don't know how, but some sort of regulation or filter that filters these online apps, to either have a caveat in there to say, this is 70% correct or 60% correct, to that effect, because you really have to rely on the human interaction.
Right.
What I do is I educate my buyers about the Zillow's estimate, the Rentgen estimate, because, for example, I have a listing right now that is in Jurupa Valley.
Yeah.
And within 1 mile radius of it is a totally different city called Eastvale with a
Oh, yeah.
totally superior school district.
Yeah.
So when you do a Zestimate, it's
Right.
going to
Yeah.
capture the houses
Yeah.
in a school district where the schools are rated 9 to 10,
Yes.
and the listing is in a school district rated like 5 to 7.
Yeah.
So the Zestimate is going to be like 50 to 100,000 more than what it's
Sure.
supposed to be. So
Yeah.
that's the issue. So I educate my clients about that, and I do a manual comparables in front of them, like
Right.
within limiting it only to that zip code,
Yeah.
and they say, "Oh, okay, so that's the real value." And also, I remember there was a company, a tech company, that tried to so-called simplify everything.
Yeah.
They come and go. They closed. Or the biggest
Yeah.
one that closed was Purple Bricks. They
Right.
tried to,
Right.
you know,
Sure.
that ridiculous company that
Yeah.
tried to, do a flat fee of $3,500 no
Right.
matter what home size it is. And it just didn't work because I knew some of the people who worked there, and they just got overworked. And and the people in America expect their realtors to work a certain way,
Yeah.
and they couldn't work a certain way with handling 10 deals and
Oh,
getting
right.
paid $3,500, right?
Right. Yeah. Because they're from the UK. Right.
The UK, it's
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a different culture
Purple
there.
brick, right.
It's
Right.
they can't apply that culture over there to
Yeah.
our culture here.
Right.
Yeah, the people here are used to their realtors giving them like silver platter service, like concierge service.
Yeah.
And
Right.
Purple Bricks couldn't do that because they work on volume, so they just
Sure.
closed. Like they can't sustain that business
Mhm.
model here.
Yeah.
And also, what I want to change about the real estate industry, and I'm pretty sure the other realtors here would laugh, and also Raul will, are these shows, the $1 Million Listing,
Oh my gosh.
HGTV.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like we would have at Keller Williams people who are going to say, oh, they want to go to real estate school. I said, okay, why you guys want to go to real estate school? What's the
Because I
purpose of
watch-
you being here? Well, because
Selling
in
sunset.
Selling
real estate
sunset.
is just, I just wear nice suits and smile and look chill
Yeah,
on
yeah.
top of a kitchen countertop, and then in 2 months I'll be driving a Ferrari.
Yeah.
They don't say it like that, but you get what
Sure.
I mean.
Oh, yeah.
So we just look at each other and laugh when we hear these people say that. And there's a lot of people who saturate the industry, and they really are are in it for the wrong motivations, the wrong
The
reasons.
wrong reason, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they don't really know how to, like for example, you will see them on the MLS putting great investment. Like
Yeah.
not all properties are great investments. Like some properties are just there because like a luxury property. It's good for an owner occupant. Let's say a movie star wants to buy it. They buy
Sure.
it because they like it, not because it will give an investment return later on. It might give nothing.
Yeah.
So, but still, these people still put those things. That's just one example. There, I could go on and on, but yeah, these TV shows give a lot of misconceptions about the industry that I don't like. So
Well, for me, I
Yeah.
think what we need to change in the industry is to be titled as a realtor. You need to know a lot. It
There
has
needs to be
our
more.
realtors need to be more educated. you
Yeah.
know there's a constant learning process. Every season that we have, there's something new that we need to learn, and it's a constant process of evolving based on what's going on during the time. 1970 is different from 80, different from 90, different from 2000. It's different now. So there's always something that needs to be learned. So a realtor that wants to be a dedicated realtor that can really service a first-time homeowner or investor genuinely need to learn. You need to know more than just getting a license.
Right.
A
Yeah.
part-time licensed agent that is a
Right.
doctor, a nurse, or doing something else, you know, that's what they do 8 hours of the day.
Right.
Realtors, if we're not showing properties, if we're not listing property, we're learning. We
Yeah.
have to
Right.
hone. We have to keep on honing. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. We go to motivational seminars, so that we can learn how to communicate, how to present ourselves, and how to be working with each other. We learn how the trade, we learn all the laws, We learn, we learn all these things. There's so many things to learn.
Right.
And if you are a part-time realtor, you don't have time to do that. You know.
That's
So
true.
I think the most important thing that we need to change in real estate so that we can regain that dignity is to have realtors really ingrain in their mind that it is a constant process of learning. You know, we need to know what we're doing, and we out there putting a destiny to people's lives. Yeah, yeah, that's what we need to do.
And speaking of learning, SP has a giveaway tonight
Oh,
for
nice.
everyone who's watching,
Oh,
and
yeah.
for anyone who
Yes.
wants to learn how to gain more freedom by downsizing your home, right? Because that's
Yes.
SP's specialty, how to retire in style. And so SP is giving away digital books. So these are ebooks. If you go to www.esperanza.agbayani.book.live/senior dash book, you will find the link there, and it's a form that you can fill out to download the ebook. And so once again, that's Gain More Freedom by Downsizing Your Home, book from Espie Agbayani. Right? So thank you so much, SP. And for those of you who are watching, you can also contact me so that I can give you the link directly. It's www.esperanza.agbayani.book.live/senior-book. So thank you so much, SP.
Yeah, thank
And
you. A lot of information
yes,
there.
yes,
Yeah.
and we've
Wow, baby
certainly
boomers.
yes, and we've certainly learned a lot from our realtors. We got the best of the best realtors from Southern California, and also the best mortgage lender ever, right?
Yes. Yes.
And his
Always
his
try our best.
hairstyle or lack of hairstyle shows it, right? According to Charles.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and
It's
so
really
thank you
good.
so much, everyone, to all of our guest panelists, SP, Jason, Charles, Jen, and Raul. We've certainly learned so much about you and your experience, and also some tips about how to buy homes and what to look out for when we're buying homes, especially for first-time home buyers. And so tomorrow we have some jamming sessions happening at 8 o'clock. And also on July 31st, Garth Garcia will be having a CD release party. So it's a concert, a CD release party here in LA at 8 o'clock p.m. And we'll be serving light snacks. So there's going to be food. So we're going to party, concert with food. And Garth is going to be signing CDs. So that's happening on July 31st. That's a Saturday. At the Thai Meal Arts Building here in on Santa Monica Boulevard here, right in the heart of LA in Hollywood. So that's happening, and if you guys are interested, I have tickets for that. It's $20 each, and yeah, we're gonna be having a lot of shows coming up, like a lot of live concerts series coming up. And so thank you so much to everyone who's watching out there.
Thank you for
And
having me.
yeah,
Thank
and
you.
Thank you, Mick, for having us.
Nice meeting everybody.
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
are
nice
so
meeting you
very
guys.
welcome, everybody.
Thank
And
you.
yes, thank you so much. And if you guys are looking for them, they all have Facebook accounts and they all have their own websites. Like what everyone says, they're all entrepreneurs, so it's all of them have their own businesses as realtors. Therefore, they have their own websites, and of course, Raul also has his own website. Yeah, so thank you so much, and we'll see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock p.m. Good night, everyone.
All right.
Good
Good night.
Good
Thank
night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
you.